The first impression of the choir was scary.
Well, maybe you can tell it by the smile on my face. I've got joy. I've got joy. It's a smile that comes from heaven that the world cannot erase. I've got joy. I've got joy. When I rise in the morning, see the day that God has made. Sunshine or stormy, you'll still hear me say, I've got joy.
I joined in November 2015 and I left for a few months. And I came back in April of 2016 and my thoughts were, these people are going to be like, why are you back here?
I was invited to come that night, and when I came in and saw these people laughing and talking and just fellowshipping with each other, it just made me just feel really welcome.
We just fell in love immediately. The spirit of the choir, the welcoming, their outreach to us was just something that I knew we had to be a part of.
I had all these ideas of what people viewed me as, and I came back and it was a Wednesday night, and I remember Bill Dreary came up and gave me a hug, and he's like, I've been praying for you. And I'm like, what? These people are crazy. That's when it all changed, and I realized that they have something I don't, and it was Jesus.
When I walked through the choir's doors for the first time, everyone greeted me with a smile, and I knew that I was in the right place because I could sense the presence of the Lord, and whenever I sense that, I know that I'm in the right place.
But when we walk up the hall every week and get ready to go into choir for practice, there's a group of people there called Charlie's Angels, and these are greeters. They all have red vests on, so you know who they are. And the job they do is absolutely magnificent. They make everyone that walks into that choir room feel at home, first of all. Feel like someone's there that wants them to be there. And it's not just, hey, how you doing tonight? It's the hug or to ask you about something that's going on in your life. In other words, they reach out from themselves and beyond themselves to interview us, really, coming in the door about what's happening in our lives. And that makes it very, very important on Wednesday night to bond our group together as we come in.
You're never too broken to belong. Never too wounded, never too far gone. Here you find Jesus and find your home. You're never too broken to belong.
I was in the worst place I've ever been in, and I'm 22, so that was the darkest part of my life. I felt spiritually dead, and then I left. I joined in November, and you actually called me, Rodney, and said, do you want to be in the Christmas show? And if you hadn't have done that, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. I did the Christmas show, and then in January of 2016, I quit going to the choir because I was not living I wasn't living God's will, that's for sure. I felt the guilt and the shame of the life that I was living when I left here. And then April 2nd, I came back, and that's when everybody was so welcoming to me. And I did get saved April 2nd. I asked the Lord to have all of me, like take it all so that all I have is open hands, and I'm willing and ready for whatever you have for me. So yes.
You're never too broken to
I had some tragedy in my life where I lost my wife of 33 years, and it was a difficult time for me. And they surrounded me, just so selfless. They just provided meals and the phone calls, the text messages, just at that right time when you needed to get some encouragement.
What has been interesting for me is when I lost my son, it was a combination of about 50 different things that I can't put my finger on exactly, but they all came together at the timing that I needed. Things like, as an example, several of the choir members just volunteering to sing at my son's funeral. Several coming out of the woodwork and saying, I want to come be with you at the hospital at the right time. Even after being in this situation, they were overseas in Israel and coming right back and just really rushing to my side.
I've met lifelong friends that has opened their hearts and their homes to me and has supported me through many life-changing events, graduating college, surgery, marriage. A few members of the choir, quite a few members of the choir, traveled to attend my wedding, and it was the day before Easter, and they drove back to make Easter service. And that for me was huge that they would do that. And now having a baby, they're just such a huge support. And a couple of people from the choir are actually, one of the ladies, her husband, is the godfather of my baby.
I recall once that Pastor Rodney stopped rehearsal and he said, we don't know what it took for each individual to get up today and to go through the day and get here. And he said, I just want us to pray right now. If it's, we're going to pray and we're going to break up in groups. And to stop rehearsal for any reason is significant. Mm-hmm. But for prayer, he stopped it for us to pray. And he says, is anybody, he says, you don't have to tell me what it is, raise your hand. And people were raising their hands. And then there was a spontaneous outpour of emotion. People were just weeping uncontrollably. Mm-hmm. Not just the ladies, but some of the guys mm-hmm. were just crying uncontrollably because all of a sudden they had, almost 300 people praying for whatever was burdening them.
Holy, holy, holy is the Lord Almighty.
Say worthy,
worthy, worthy,
so worthy,
worthy.
When I think about the importance of the role as a music director in a church, small, mid, or large, it's never losing sight of what the real purpose is of that job and how important it is not only in serving God, but also serving the people that are around you.
I've learned so much from a music perspective, from a life perspective, from a ministry perspective, from our pastor, and I would hope that, and I would think that any choir member would want that leadership, but also have that individuality where he gives you the freedom to speak your mind, give ideas, as a member of a total body.
I must tell you about my care leader. I have the best care leader in all the choir. She is a wonderful woman, and she takes care of us, those of us in her care group, absolutely wonderfully. Not a week passes that we don't hear from her in some form or other. Sometimes it's a text, often it's a phone call, and she prays for us every single week. And for older people like ourselves, you know what a joy it is to know that somebody's out there praying for you? She is a wonderful woman. It is a blessing to know in a church this size that there's somebody praying for me.
The prayer warriors were praying for us, and the prayer warriors even reached out to the missionary group, and people were praying for us from around the world. It was such a wonderful impact. And I remember on the day that I was going to pick up a wheelchair that the choir called me. They were at a retreat, and they sang, the song is
My Life
is in Your Hands. it just meant so much to me, and it ministered to me so much, and it lifted my spirits to let me know that Jesus was with me and that my life was in his hands. And I'm walking today, I think, because God answered the prayers of the righteous.
Everything we do, our singing, our worship, our prayer groups, our care leaders who take care of all of us, every bit of that is absolutely grounded and fundamentally exercised through the precepts of Scripture. And that's so important. Be a pastor first.